For a long time, we have been getting small hints about this every now and then, and all of this, literally every single one of these things, have been leading up to this particular chapter and maybe the next couple of chapters as well. Because it is here, we can clearly see it. Zoro's backstory and especially his connection to Wano is finally going to come up. It is sort of touched here in this particular chapter, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be fully explored in the next couple of chapters as well. So hello and welcome to Unwisey. My name is Suham and thank you so much for joining in. In this video, we are going to talk about Zoro's Wano backstory and why I think that there's basically going to be a very huge revelation coming up very soon, especially in regards to his lineage. But before that, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel since I do weekly anime and manga related content along with a bunch of other stuff. With that being said, let's begin the video, and of course this video is going to contain manga spoilers. You have been warned. Now, One Piece chapter 1023 introduces us with a lot of different stuff, especially in regards to the two wings of the Pirate King, that is both Sanji as well as Zoro. I'm going to make a separate video talking about Sanji because that is also very interesting. But here in this particular video, I'm going to specifically talk about Zoro here because there's actually a lot going on here, and you are literally blind if you're not able to see the similarities between these things. Because in this chapter, after King starts fighting with Zoro, Zoro is forced to take up on different fighting styles because King's fighting style is very unique. He has this sort of a sword which changes shape and it literally throws away two of the swords that Zoro was carrying. And because of this, Zoro has to sort of adapt in the midst of the fight. He has to go back from his Santoryu to his one sword style. And in the midst of all of this, while all of this is basically happening, Hyogoro and Kawamatsu are talking as they are watching Zoro. And to all of this, Kawamatsu is basically saying that how Zoro is a very formidable swordsman. But the most important piece of dialogue here comes from Hyogoro, who says that Zoro awfully reminds him a lot of none other than Ringo's lord Shimotsuki Ushimaru in his younger days. Moreover, that's not all, we also get to see a close-up of Ushimaru's face, and guess what? Yeah, I mean, we are not even kidding at this moment. Oda is literally doing this because here we actually get to see a silhouette of Ushimaru along with Gyukimaru, and guess what? Ushimaru is actually having a scar on his face, which is sort of reminiscent to Zoro as well. But that's not all, because they go on to say that how Zoro has a very similar fighting style to Ushimaru, and how Zoro returning Shusui, the legendary sword of Wano, back to the grave of Shimotsuki Ryuma, it's just like fate. It literally is like fate, and it sort of completes every single equation. And after all of this, we get to see a face of Ryuma, a close-up of Ryuma, and guess what? It's his left eye. His left eye is also damaged, just like Zoro's own eye. And Kawamatsu basically exclaims this thing that the fact that Ryuma was also a one-eyed swordsman, it's all making sense, it's all coming back together. You literally have to be a blind person if you're not able to connect these things. Oda loves to do these sorts of things where he links the current Straw Hats to some legendary figures, or basically has someone who is inheriting the will of someone else. Luffy does this for Goldie Roger, and now it's not just Goldie Roger himself, but rather Joy Boy and even the sun god Nika. So it would obviously make sense for the right-hand man of Luffy, the next Pirate King, to also be inheriting the will of someone very special, which is none other than Shimotsuki Ryuma as well as Shimotsuki Ushimaru as well. Now, in order to understand this entire situation, I feel like we have to go back to the family tree of the Shimotsuki clan. The Shimotsuki family is a very well-renowned and formerly powerful family from the Wano country, and centuries ago, Shimotsuki Ryuma, whom we last saw in Thriller Bark, became one of the most well-known swordsmen in Wano, to the point where his actions became a legend, a literal living legend. Moreover, this is the very same Ryuma who was the main central character of the one-shot that Oda made in the form of Monsters. And just have a look at this, picture. You can't tell me that these two pictures don't look alike. Zoro is literally the splitting image of a young Ryuma. The only difference here is the color of their hair. Ryuma has black hair, Zoro has green hair. Now, I'm going to come back to this hair point of view as well, just hold on for a bit. But this was Ryuma. This was centuries ago. This was a legendary swordsman. His antics and his swordsmanship made him a legend. But that's not all. This family has more wonders to offer. The Shimotsuki family eventually grew to become a very well-respected family in Wano, having two of the country's regions entrusted to them. But then 55 years ago, Shimotsuki Kozaburo left Wano and he headed to East Blue. Now this is where the story gets interesting, because this is the Shimotsuki, that is Shimotsuki Kozaburo, who saved a village from bandits, and eventually the village was named after him in the form of Kozaburo village. He settled there, he had a family, and 4 years after his departure from Wano, he had a son called Koshiro. This is the same Koshiro who was the teacher, the instructor of Zoro. When Koshiro was 27, he had his daughter Kuina, and later on in the story we find out in Zoro's flashback that Kuina died after hilariously falling from the stairs. I still can't get over the fact that she literally died after falling down from the stairs, and again my theory here has got something to do with this as well. Now, where does Zoro come into the picture? I feel like Zoro is a Shimotsuki himself. Now, this is not just me saying this has been a very popular theory from back in the day, but this chapter sort of cements that entire legacy. I mean, for Luffy, we had the inherited will concept and how he's the person who is probably going to be the next Joy Boy, who is going to inherit the will of Joy Boy. But he doesn't really have a direct connection to them, other than maybe how we know that maybe the D clan was a separate clan, a separate family, just that's it. But he does not have a direct maybe connection to Joy Boy himself, like a direct blood relation. Maybe the D clans were some different families who had banded together, so the situation with Luffy is a little bit different. But here for Zoro, he is literally the splitting image of not just Ryuma, but even Ushimaru himself, who was the Lord of Ringo up until his death at the hands of Orochi. Now, why do I feel like Zoro is actually a Shimotsuki, or rather secretly a Shimotsuki? I feel like this is all due to none other than Koshiro. Now, in order to explain this, I have basically two theories in my mind. The first one is that Koshiro is not just a random teacher for Zoro, but rather he is his uncle. Zoro's parents are also Shimotsuki clan members, but they died because of some reasons, and Zoro was eventually raised by the Roronoa family, but he was kept in touch with Koshiro, and in order to save him, basically in order to save his lineage, they did not reveal to him that he was actually a Shimotsuki, because 55 years ago Shimotsuki Kozaburo left Wano illegally. It was illegal for them to leave Wano, and at the same time bandits were also after them. So in order to save a young Zoro, they decided to renounce the Shimotsuki name for him and basically keep him in close contact with Koshiro, so that he is going to eventually learn swordsmanship, because that is definitely in his very own DNA. This is my first theory. It's just fine, it's a normal theory, but my second theory is more interesting in a way. I'll probably expand this in a separate video, but I'm just talking about it here. Here, I feel like Zoro is actually the true heir of the Shimotsuki clan, but as a kid, he was traded off with Kuina. Now, we know that Kuina is 1 year older than Zoro, so I feel like as soon as Zoro was born, he was traded off, and maybe his parental lineage, maybe from his mother's side, he got the name of Roronoa and his Shimotsuki name was removed, sort of like how Naruto was named Naruto Uzumaki and not Naruto Namikaze, because the people did not want them to find out that he's the son, he's the heir of that family. Similarly here, Zoro was also not called Zoro Shimotsuki, he was called Roronoa Zoro, because a young Zoro would not have been able to fend himself off the bandits, and therefore in order to save him, in order to save the last clan member of the Shimotsuki family, his name was changed. And as a result of this, Kuina was taken in by Koshiro and raised as his own daughter, and he had given up on Zoro basically in order to save him, because he knew that someday down the road his children would be attacked, and therefore in order to save the clan, he took in Kuina. Now this will be a very big twist, this will be a very huge twist when Zoro eventually finds out that it was actually he who was supposed to die, it was not Kuina. The bandits were after him and not Kuina, and because they thought that Kuina was actually the heir to the Shimotsuki clan, they killed her, and therefore in order to not burden Zoro with the truth about these things, Koshiro basically lied to him and said that Kuina died after falling down from the stairs. So this is essentially one of my theories in this particular regard. And the other thing which really hints at Zoro is definitely a Shimotsuki is in relation to the swords. Both of the swords which Zoro uses currently, that is Enma as well as Wado Ichimonji, have been crafted by none other than Shimotsuki Kozaburo. So that is basically his lineage, his grandfather's sword in a way. So all of this combines together, it fits together like a jigsaw puzzle. And I feel like this particular thing, this entire revelation is coming up very soon. This video is basically a theory video. We don't really have a concrete proof yet, But because in this particular chapter we saw the face of Ryuma, a young Ryuma, as well as Shimotsuki Ushimaru, I feel like Oda is definitely setting all of these things up. It's just like jigsaw puzzles which are being placed one after the other, and eventually some chapters later on, Zoro's true identity, true lineage is definitely going to be revealed to the entire world. That is going to be an absolutely amazing one. So what do you guys think about all of these things? Please do let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Now, would you actually be happy to see that Zoro is secretly a Shimotsuki clan member and not just a random person? I mean, the question can be made that why is it necessary to make Zoro a special person? Why can he not be just a normal random person who learned swordsmanship and who is probably going to become the best person in the world, best swordsman in the world? That's a fair point. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but at the same time, he was not really given anything directly. He had to train for this. If anything, I would say that Zoro is the person who trains the most in the entire Straw Hat. Even before time skip, even after the time skip, we have seen Zoro lifting dumbbells and practicing and training, and he's the one who trains the most in the Straw Hat. So if anything, he's the one who truly deserves all of these powers. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel for more. This is WonderByZ, and I'll see you all on the next one. In the meantime, be sure to join our Discord servers. Links are in the description below, and join the channel membership for some very cool perks and features.